Netflix, you don't need cable. Hop on YouTube, welcome to the hood table, where we chop up local and global events vocally. You don't really wanna miss out on these conversations. Just joke a little, laugh a little, get that wine in your system, fill your glass a little. Expose current events, talk trash a little. You never know, these opinions might clash a little. They addicted to the content, got them binge watching. You don't like it, then you want invited. Bet your friends watching in the house and your job parking lot before you clocking. They don't wanna miss a second of this HT content. Everybody think they got something to say, so it's an open invitation, bring it to the table. But if you come whack, just know we ain't buying in. We gon' probably turn your back and tell you sorry, try again, Yeah, welcome to the hood table. You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable. Yeah, welcome to the hood table. You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable.
Hey everyone, happy third day of January. We still can officially say Happy New Year. I think it's okay, from what I heard in the past, to still, feel comfortable saying Happy New Year until like February 14th. Once Valentine's Day is hit, okay, all right, we done got the New Year's in. We done made it. Valentine's Day is here. So yeah, feel free to say Happy New Year to people, anybody you come across or meet or greet. Well into, middle of February. But some people go past that. But I usually go to about, the beginning of February, the middle of February. But Happy New Year, happy holidays. I hope everybody made it into the New Year safe. Everybody's happy, everybody's healthy. I know a lot of people are dealing with a lot of stuff, even like my family, my friends. A lot of things going on. A lot of us on here are even going through stuff, but we made it. Okay. 2026. Okay. But I hope everybody's having a good morning or afternoon. I won't be here before you long. As promised, I've been saying for the last few days, I'm going to try to do a live either every day or every other day discussing anything from my hood to trending news, celebrity news, B sector. If I find anything interesting to watch on B sector. I haven't watched a lot of B sector as far as like the beef sector. I've been watching people in the sector, but they sometimes don't be talking about what's really going on. They be talking about other shit most of the time, from what I can tell. But shout out to the B sector. Y'all still sectoring. I heard little things going on recently. HLIC Room Shaker, child, you and Lovely Love had me going the other day. What up, the Ham Show? How you doing, love? Happy New Year. But y'all had me going the other day. I don't even know what. Child, Room Shaker said like 2 words in the chat when Lovely Love was on the panel. And she went clean off. She hit that panel so fast and started going off on Lovely Love. But anyway, I hope you guys are cool. I hope you guys are cool now. But I know you did say basically it's to the dirt, but it is what it is. But y'all, I just came on here real quick, just do a little noon live to discuss the interview that I saw the other day. I love when 2 of my favorite actors, actresses get together. Deon Cole. Okay, everybody knows Deon Cole. The comedian, stand-up comedian, actor, Barbershop 2. Barbershop 3. He played in a lot of things, a lot of the things, okay, and a lot of TV shows. He also used to write for the Tonight Show with Conan O'Brien. He was on Blackish. Lord have mercy. Everybody knows Deon Cole, and he is very funny. I love him. But that TICHINA Arnold, aka Pam. Okay, so he had her on his show. And you know what? I didn't even know. I had to subscribe to Deon's channel. Matter of fact, let me put his link in here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I'm going to put the link in the chat to the interview that I'm referring to, because I didn't even know he had a channel. You said you want a custom T-shirt. Okay, holla at me. Hit me up on Instagram at the Hood Table on Instagram. Holla at me. I got you. But yeah, he has a YouTube channel, and I don't even know how long the channel been around. But anyway, he has this segment called "Funny Knowing You," and he got the opportunity to interview Tichina Arnold, and a lot of y'all know Tichina Arnold mainly from either Little Shop of Horrors, the Throwback. That show came out in, oh my god, what year was that? Like 90, 93? Not, I can't even remember when Little House of Horrors came out. That's how long it goes. If y'all know for sure, let me know, please. When did that? I think it was, no, was it in the 80s? No, it was in the 80s. It was like 86 or 80, around that time. But anyway, she was in Little House of Horrors. That was the first time I ever saw her. And then I don't think I really saw her again until like Martin. That's when I think I mean, she had been on the Sesame Street. She had been, oh yeah, she was also on Bill's Cosby. She was on one of the shows of Bill's Cosby, one of the episodes with Theo. She was like one of his girlfriends or something like that. But child, she's been on a lot of shit. But y'all, most of y'all know her from Martin. She was on that show for like 5 years, one of the main cast members. And so she got the chance to sit down and be interviewed by Deon Cole. Again, feel free to click that link in the chat when you got some time and watch the whole interview. It's about 2 hours long, maybe give or take. But yeah, she got the opportunity to sit down and discuss some things with him. All the things like life, family, her career, her children, her dating experiences. Like if I have to say like the most shocking thing I learned from, and I didn't see Tichina Arnold in interviews before, but one of the most shocking things that I learned was that she dated a white guy. And no, it's like not shocking for Black women to date white guys, but I could have never thought that Tichina Arnold had dated a white guy before. I don't know. No shade, no tea. To my Caucasian friends, and I got a lot of y'all. I love y'all and everything, but I don't know. But she dated Brian Austin Green. And she sat down with Deon Cole and she discussed, dating him and everything. And when he asked her about it, and by the way, it was her first white boyfriend and her first, only, and last. And she said about, dating him that it was a good relationship. He was good to her. It was positive, but she couldn't see herself with him for a long stretch. Now, I can't remember or recall if she literally said how long that she was dating him, but she did say she could not see them in a long-term relationship. And when asked why, now this surprised me too, or this struck me, she said because she wanted to share her legacy, or he wanted to share his legacy with someone of his own race. Now, he didn't tell her that, but for some reason she felt like he would eventually dump her, because when they were dating, they were both young. That was like towards the beginning of their career. And matter of fact, am I live on Facebook? Oh, hold on, homies. Hold up. Let me make sure I go over to the Facebook. Okay, I forgot to go live on Facebook. Okay, it's just a quick little save. Okay. So shout out to the Facebook crew. Shout out to the YouTube crew. You guys, please make sure you like and share the video on the way in. Your girl trying to get back into the algorithm after darn near being gone like for the last 2-3 months. Just here and there periodically. But yes, trying to get back in that good old algorithm. So anyway, and Brian Austin Green. A lot of y'all who were Beverly Hills 90210 fans, Yeah, that's probably where y'all know him mostly from. Beverly Hills 90210. A lot of people was in love with that man back then. Matter of fact, let me show y'all a picture of him and Pam. Him and Pam. Why I keep calling her Pam? Her name is TICHINA Arnold. I don't know. She's one of those characters. Y'all know how y'all have like your favorite character from a movie or a TV show, and you always call them by their stage name. Pam is always gonna be Pam. Like TICHINA Arnold. Like I know some actors and actresses. I've heard them say before that they hate when people approach them and they call them by their stage name, but they can't really hate it too much because that's who fans fall in love with, is the person that they're portrayed to be. And also, the real person too, but that name just brings out more expression and more feelings, when you have fans and stuff. But TICHINA Arnold, aka Pam, this is a picture of them in their older years. I don't know when this was taken. As far as each of them, it looks like they weren't together. It was just two pictures somebody put together, and I just copied and pasted it. Okay, but that's the beautiful TICHINA Arnold, aka Pam, and that is Brian Austin Green. And I still can't believe that she dated. But I guess if you're gonna date somebody, he was a looker. Back in the gap, he was a looker. So I guess if you're gonna date, see, I always said that too. If I ever was to date a white man, he would be fine as the fuck. He wouldn't just be no. Now when it comes to black guys, of course you got to be cute. I got to be able to wake up and roll over to you and look at you and be like, oh, this boy, his breath, he need to brush his teeth, but he look good, he look good. But with a white guy, again, no shade, no tea. If I want to step out of my color line, out of my boundaries, he got to be like fine. Okay, I mean fine. And he gotta have some money. He gotta have some swag though, too. He gotta have some swag though. He gotta be comfortable to be a comfortable around boy, anybody, white, black, Puerto Rican, gotta be comfortable to be around like my family, my folks, because we is really like we got sense, but we still really like hood. Okay, like when it comes to my family, we hood, and some of them is more hood than others. Some of them might even be a little ratchet. Okay, but yeah. So what she had to say, as far as dating white men, she said she had to try it. She had to see what was on the other side to see if she liked it. And she said it was cool. It was cool, but she broke up with him because she had a feeling that he would break up with her and he would find somebody his own race to be with for the rest of his life, and spend all his riches on. And that's how she felt. So that's what she told Deon. She said he was different, but it was for her, but it wasn't something that she saw herself doing for the long haul. She was just like, we came to the end of the road. He was dating a lot of black women. Now he was dating her. And even though he dated a lot of black women before her, she still was like, you're dating a lot of black women. I don't know. Maybe she saw something. Because me, if I see a white guy always dating black women, I would assume that he loves black women. And that's all. Like there are some white guys and there's some white black ladies who only date white men, and some white guys who only date black women. But still, she was like, nah, eventually you gonna get off of this, whatever it is, this trend, and you're gonna end up with somebody who looks like you, who can use the same comb and brush like you. But she did have good things to say about him. So I'm glad he probably, if he watches this interview, he probably can appreciate that about her. She seemed like a really great person back then, and he did too. But she said she's just attracted to black men. And then she also mentioned something else about, she liked her men to have some weight, because she said she never really got over 140 pounds. So she liked for her man to have some weight on them, to be able to feel protected. That's how I always been. I like for a guy to have a little weight on him. And he has to be taller than me. When you're 5'3", it is nice to have a man who is taller than you. Just feel protected. That's just how I am. Some ladies, they date short guys. It don't matter. I never just been really into short guys. I've dated them before, but my thing is dark skin, thick, or a little built and taller than me. And that's just me. But anyway, that was one of the shocking things that I learned about her. I also learned that she started singing at 3 years old. And she was acting like, okay, like when I say I didn't really know much about her, Little Shop of Horrors, Martin, but I didn't really know her history. I didn't really know her background. Maybe I should have invested time in this before, but I'm just not that type of person. I might like somebody and watch their shows and movies, but I don't dig all in their background, where they grow up, what school they went to, how old were they when they first got their first break. But anyway, she said she was 3 years old when she started singing, and she had was in church. She grew up in church, and she said, and hey everyone, make sure you like and share the video, please, and thank you. Feel free to hit the Cash App. But she said she had was in church one day, and her mother was with her, and she told her mother she wanted to sing because she was hearing the choir singing. She told her mother that she wanted to sing. So that was how she literally got her first break. And she got up there with that mic, and her mama said, my baby says she wants to sing. And so she got that mic, and her mother put her up there in front of the church, and she started singing. I wish there were some videos out there of TICHINA, because I always thought TICHINA had a great voice. Matter of fact, compared to old girl Gina, her friend on Martin, Gina. Compared to them two, when they were both on the show between Pam and Gina, always thought Pam sang better than Gina. Gina, she even put out a record before. I can't remember if Pam's put out a record before, but I know Gina did put out a record before. But I always preferred listening to Pam singing. Pam really had a soulful voice. So you could tell she grew up in church. That church would come through. That soulfulness would come through when you hear Pam when she used to sing, on Martin, and even in Little Shop of Horrors. Now, all three of them did really good. Even the third lady, I can't remember the third lady's name, but when they starred in Little Shop of Horrors, they was around the age of like 17, 18. I didn't even know they were that old. When I was watching it back in the day, I did not think that they were that old. They didn't look that old. They were small. They were kind of petite, except for that third one. But her and Gina, they was really small. They were short. They were, I don't know. They look, I thought they were maybe around, 14, 15, something like that. I didn't think that they were like 17 or 18 years old. But yeah, she got her first break before that, though, as far as when she got into acting. She started acting on Off-Broadway. I didn't know that. I didn't know that she had acted in Off-Broadway shows. And then when she eventually got her real break in television, or should I say film, that was actually in Little House of Horror. So I thought that was really cool. I think you guys should check it out. If you're a Pam fan, TICHINA Arnold fan, I think you will enjoy watching that interview. Again, I dropped the link in the interview. One thing, went to the interview on Deon Cole's YouTube channel. But one thing I have to say, and then we're going to get to her responding to someone about what they had to say about how they think there was a colorism or a thing like that on the Martin show between Martin and Pam. But we're going to get to that in a minute. But one thing I have to say, with Deon Cole, I like Deon Cole. I thought the interview was great. I mean, the two of them together, they were both funny. They were entertaining. I never seen him interview anybody before, so I thought he did a good job. Really relaxed and laid back and everything. And they were at like one of her spots. I don't know if it was her main crib, but they were at one of her spots. But he asked her, one of the questions he asked her was, have you ever experienced anything traumatic in your childhood? And she was like, well, I've never been touched or nothing like that. And it's like, why do a lot of people ask people that about their childhood? Now, some people are transparent. Some people talk about their childhood before they even get to an interview. It's just out there, something they went through that they talked about or mentioned publicly on their social media or whatever. But I hate how people, there's a YouTuber out here, and I can't remember his name, Atlanta Street something, and I used to follow him. But he would like interview all the like the homeless people or the homeless people in Atlanta, the broken down homeless prostitutes, crackheads, whatever. And that was one of the questions that he always asked them. Like, has anybody ever touched you? Have you ever experienced being? I'm like, why do people ask that? I think that is so invasive. But anyway, she said no. I'm glad nothing did happen to her. But she said no. What up, Riz? How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure everybody is liking and sharing the video, please, and thank you. Thank you so very much. I'm not gonna be on here long, like I said. I'm about trying to give y'all a little 30 minutes. But she did say that the only traumatic thing that really happened to her when she was younger was once she was outside playing or something, playing around, and somebody accidentally she was on the slide. No, she was on the swings, and somebody accidentally hit her, or she ran into the pole or some shit, and her nose busted open. And she said she ran into the house and she was screaming and crying, and her father looked at her. She said, my father couldn't talk. He was just there, just shaking and just standing there. And I'm like, I can imagine that feeling, because something traumatic happened to my oldest son when he was younger. He was playing outside, running around the neighbor's house. They playing tag or whatever. And he thought he could jump over a trash can that was laying on his side, and thought he could just step on it and just fly over it, I guess, like Superman or some bullshit. Boy, that boy stepped on that trash can and fell right down. As soon as he stepped on it, he fell right down, and his face went smack into the concrete stair next to the trash can. And when I tell you, he had a hole in his cheek, like right below his eye, and you could fit a pencil in there. That's how big the hole was. You could put a pencil in there. And when I heard him screaming from outside. I was in my house and I heard him screaming really loud. And so all the friends was, Tanya, Miss Tanya. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I opened up the door. And mind you, I had just got my house. That was a house from years ago. I had just got my house, and I had brand new light colored carpet. It was $12,000 worth of carpet on the first floor. And he came to the door and was bleeding profusely. I mean, bleeding. I didn't know where he was bleeding from, and he wore glasses. I didn't know where he was bleeding from. The glasses were still intact, so I know he didn't have no glass in his eyes or anything like that. But don't judge me too hard, y'all. I saw my son there and I panicked and I got hysterical, but I said, take him around the back. My son will never forget that, nor will his friends, nor will my neighbor who tried to help patch his ass up. But I couldn't. I'm like, maybe if he was like damn near dead or something, like, you know how on Boys in the Hood, when they dragged him in the house and threw him on his mama couch and he was bleeding all over the place. Maybe then, but the boy was still breathing, but he was bleeding. And so they brought him back to the back. They heard him, brought him to the back. I had the door open. I had him sit at the kitchen table where there was no carpet. And oh my God. Anyway, long story short, they couldn't stitch it. They couldn't do nothing. We did have to take him to the hospital because after a few hours, we just couldn't keep the blood, suppressed. So they told us to just bring him into the emergency room. When they taped his, he looked like a mummy. They taped his whole head up. They had to tape his whole head up, gauze and all kind of shit, wraps, bandages, because they couldn't stop the bleeding. So they finally stopped the bleeding. We was able to go home. And I bought this medicine called, I don't know if y'all ever heard of it, but it's called Mother's Best Friend. I think that was the name of it, Mother's Best Friend or something like that. And it's some skin cream that they use for like pregnancy scars, stretch marks. And I put that on him like twice a day to cover the wound. The once it started healing because it was a bad mark on his face, and it worked. I mean, after like maybe 6 months, to this day he's 28, and you can't tell that there was a hole literally in his cheek. And I thank God that when he fell, that it didn't go through the bone. It just went through the skin and the tissue, but it didn't go through the bone. So thank God, because he could have probably lost an eye or his sight or whatever. But anyway, child, that was traumatic. But yeah, I hate how people who interview, I've interviewed a lot of people. If y'all been following me for years, I interviewed a lot of people, and I ain't never one time said, have you ever been touched when you was little? Anything traumatic, anything when you was a little kid, like, I don't do that. It's a little invasive. I didn't have things done to me. And if somebody asks me that, I'll be like, um, moving right along. Okay. But anyway, so now to get to what TICHINA Arnold had to say regarding hold on, let me pull it up because I want y'all to hear the video. I want y'all to see the video. Oh, okay, here it is on Instagram. 1 second, y'all. All right, we got Brian out the way with TICHINA, her old boyfriend. I still can't believe she dated a white boy. Ooh, that's crazy. But nice to know she's, think outside the box. But okay, so this video right here, you guys might have heard this video, because this video was back in like, I want to say July. This person on the video right here, Ari Lennox, she said something about colorism, about the Martin show, how Martin interacted with Gina. She said a colorism thing where she felt like Martin was bagging on Gina, on Pam all the time, because she was brown skin, darker complexion than Gina. That's and it was a big thing back then when it happened, when they made that video. A lot of people had something to say. A lot of people was doing commentary on it, because a lot of people did agree with what she had to say. But me personally, even when I watch Martin, to this day, when I watch it over and over, the reruns, I never felt any type of colorism issues on that show. And I'm so glad that Deon Cole asked her about that video that Ari Lennox had made about those comments, because she, responded to it. And I never heard her respond to it before. So let's play this video and y'all let me know what y'all think, especially if y'all haven't seen it before.
Was saying how it never sat right with her, how Martin used to come for Pam and her looks on the show. And honestly, as a dark-skinned woman, that never bothered me, because he never once spoke about her skin tone. He spoke about her weave, her hair, her breath. He spoke about just funny shit about her, but never talked about her skin tone. And Pam used to come for Martin too. She was just as witty, just as funny. I never once felt some type of way about the way he joked on her, because it wasn't offensive. You know what I'm saying? And back in the day, I heard a little rumor that Martin was fucking Pam anyway in the real world. You know what I'm saying? So like, and Pam was beautiful. We all know this. Sometimes I feel like Ari Lennox just says like rage baity things because honestly, where did this come from? This has never been a problem ever in life. I don't understand it. Ari girl. Ari.
So that's the same thing I was saying. Now, I never did y'all feel like that when y'all was watching Martin back in the day, or when you go back and you watch the reruns? Did y'all ever feel like it was a colorism thing, or did you just feel like it was just all like it was funny, it was comedic, it was just part of the show? I never. He would talk about her BDBs in the back of her neck, and that's one thing she mentioned on Deon's interview. She said, "You know what? I never realized I had BDBs in the back of my neck until Martin started teasing her about it." And so she was like, "No, it was all in fun." She said, and that wasn't like, she said the spats we would have on the show. She said, y'all should hear us outside of the studio, like in real life, how we would kiki and cut up. And she said one day she was, Martin, he had said a joke about her. Now, this was offset. They just, out hanging out or whatever. And she said, he said something about her offset. And she came back with a clap back so fast. And he looked at her and she said, "Oh, no, you thought I only do that when I'm acting? I can do that too, whatever." So it was like this thing they had between the two of them. She said she was never offended. She never thought it was a colorism issue. And basically what she had to say was, she addressed Ari Lennox's comments. So during the interview, Cole noted that some people confuse television with real life, and that is very, very true. Some people do confuse television with real life. And so he referenced the singer's comments referring to her only by her first name before TICHINA interjected and corrected him. Ari Lennox, the colorism thing where she felt like Martin was bagging on me because I was brown skinned, and because she was a brown skinned girl. And she said, yeah, I heard that story before. But what she had to say was, she said they love Lennox and her music. But she said, I don't know her personally, but I like her music. And I met her one time when I was hosting Soul Train. I understand completely what she was trying to say, what she said, and I get it. She did do a disclaimer saying that she's like a shit starter. Isn't that what the lady just said that was talking about Ari's comments? She said, where did this come from? Like, nobody has really, maybe I've been hiding under a rock or something, but I promise you, y'all, and I watch a lot of TV, I watch a lot of stuff, I don't ever recall hearing about some colorism issue on the Martin show. Never. So yeah, TICHINA was like, she is a shit starter. She does cause controversy, but she get it. She get it. But then she said, there's a little backstory. She said, Pam, I did not know this. Did y'all know this? Pam on the Martin show was supposed to be a heavyset girl. Did y'all know that? You said, I'm over these kids explaining their time is now instead of complaining about the past. Why not make new art that don't love all that? I don't know what that means, but okay, so Pam was supposed to be a heavyset girl. And please like the video and share the video on the way in. Please and thank you. Feel free to hit the cash out. But Pam was supposed to be a heavyset girl. I wonder, was she supposed to be a little heavyset, a little cushion, or thickums like me? I don't know. But she said Pam was the character was supposed to be a heavyset girl. So all the jokes for the audition was fat jokes. And so she said she was auditioning and with the fat jokes. And then she said the fat jokes had to change once she got the role because she obviously wasn't fat. And she said, I'm never going to go probably over 140 pounds. So they had to change all the jokes. Just imagine they had all these jokes lined up, fat jokes. And then they couldn't even do them anymore because she got the part. So I did not know that. So there's a lot of things that I found out on this interview. Again, I dropped the link in the chat if you guys want to check that interview out. But I thought it was really, really good. Deon, he was a great host. Besides that one question that I always think is really invasive when people do interviews, I thought that was a pretty good interview. But yeah, so she said that that was supposed to be a big girl or a plus size girl or a healthy woman, heavyset girl, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, so they had to change all the jokes. And then she said what happened was they ended up changing the jokes, but she said we would, like when I tell you, if you were around on Martin days and on the set, all the funny really happened when the cameras weren't rolling. And that's when I was just telling y'all, when it comes to Ari Lennox, talking about colorism and all that and the jokes and stuff, she said the real cracks, the real funny happened when the cameras were not rolling. And she said nobody could expect her to crack the way she cracked. But it had nothing to do with color. She said it was never, ever, ever. It never, ever came down to a brown skin thing. But basically, what started that, she believed, was the fact that, he would talk about her beady bees in the back of her head. But she never really knew. I don't know how you not know you have beady bee in the back of your head, though. I don't know how that happened. And you don't know you got beady bees in the back of your head, though. Because I promise you, in high school, that was like the joke that the guys did on girls in high school. After Martin came out, and everybody around the world heard Martin talking about her beady bees, even before they was in syndication on Fox. A lot of that was one of the jokes in high school. You said Ari. Oh, speaking of Ari Lennox complaining about our shows. Oh, I got you, boo. I got you. That went right over my head. That's why I was like, I'm not even going to comment. Maybe Shonda do a little bit more clarity in the chat. I'm like, I'm not going to comment because I think that went right over my head. But yeah, so that's what she had to say. She said basically, but yeah, okay, so about the boys in high school, that was a thing. Like, man, if you got your hair pressed or if you had a perm, you made sure you got the nape. You got the nape of that neck around the ears, around the forehead. You made sure that shit was, man, just straight up. I mean, just straight. And one thing I do when I was perming my hair, I always did like the middle part first because, that shit, once it's on there for a while, starts burning. So I always did like the middle part of my hair, and then I would leave my edges for last. But I would make sure I put a whole bunch on them edges, boy. I didn't have no beady bees around my hair. Not even when I was a little girl. My mama used to press and flat iron. She made sure she got all them kinks out. But yeah, I think that's what started that thing. But with the Ari, it could be just that she was trying to cause some controversy. That shit, because it came up so many years later. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But yeah, so they started incorporating, that joke. And she said anything he and I did offset, they would be in the script. So what she's saying, or what she was telling Deon, was on the show, a lot of their real cracking, a lot of the real funny jokes happened offset when they was just hanging out. And so the actors and the producers and the writers, they would hear them dragging each other, outside of the set. And so they incorporated some jokes in the set. So a lot of that shit wasn't even written by the actors. It was just them just fucking around. And she said we would go back and forth, but she said it was always out of love. It was always out of love. He would get her, and she'd be like, oh, I'm going to get him. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to clap back with something so funny. She said when she came back, she would try to come back with something so hard and something so funny that it would shut whoever up for a week. She said sometimes I would shut that man up for a week because she was that funny. And I could picture it. I could picture Pam being really funny. Somebody to really hang out with, just like some people on here. There are some people on here that I think are really, really funny. They're a character, and I would love to hang out with them like in the real life. Matter of fact, the last little thing that I was going to go to, which was some years ago, y'all know when Rona had hit and Deanna had planned something in down south in the SIP, and then it never popped off because everybody canceled all their plans. The whole world canceled their plans. But I think I did hear her mention something maybe a week or so ago that she was going to be thinking about having something this year. I don't know. I'm gonna have to hit her up on the back end to find out. She said she gonna think about it. She gonna pray about it, y'all. She gonna pray about it because the thing about it is, when you do have those type of get-togethers where you're meeting with people off of YouTube, especially if you haven't met them before, you definitely want to make sure that the people you are inviting, like how people be doing these open invites with their subscribers or followers. I mean, I get it, but I'm like, I'm not gonna have no. If I was to have y'all in the O, I'm not gonna have no open invite. I might hit up certain individuals, and then I might be like, okay, maybe we can add a few more the subscribers that I don't talk to, but it got to be somebody I'm really, really, really comfortable with. It cannot for sure be anybody that be on here doing the most. I mean, the most. And you know what I mean when I say the most, okay? The doxing, the striking, the dragging of the children, and I can't get with all that. I can't, because I said it once and I'll say it again. I do believe that a lot of people on here, the same way, the same shit they do on here, I do believe is the same shit, the same behavior in their real life. I do believe that. I know some people be like, oh, I'm an actor when I come on here. I'm an actress when I come on here. I'm just playing my part. I'm just, it's a hobby. It's, whatever. But I have a feeling because some people, they just, the things and the behavior that they put up. See, I never really got into all that type of dragging, all that type of going back and forth. Y'all ain't never really seen me go back and forth with anybody on the internet, okay? And I won't. Because a lot of the behavior that we do see displayed on here, it's like, I wouldn't want my employer to see that. I wouldn't want my mother to see that. I wouldn't want my kids to see that. It's some people be acting like the shit that they do on here is okay and it won't come back to bite them, but it can, because once shit hit the internet, it's on here forever. Y'all be hiding videos and privating videos and putting them on members only. People be religiously taking clips and recording people's videos. They be having them on LSA. They be having them all on in the back chats and the DMs and whatever other hangouts that people be hanging out in with they subbies or they friends or whatever. So I always tried from the very beginning, day one, when I first hit a live button on social media, whatever I put out on here, I don't want it to be anything that will shame me later. I always want it to be something that I'm proud of. Even if I might be, talking stuff about a celebrity or, discussing whatever, trending news, celebrities, whatever. I try to not put anything out here that I would be shameful for, or look back and be like, oh, I can't believe I acted like that. So that's what I always try to do that on here. But, no shade, no tea. But yeah, so back to TICHINA and Deon Cole, though. Again, the link is in the chat. Let me drop the link one more again. Okay, I think that's the right link. So that's the link. That's not the link to his channel, but that's the link to the video. That's the link to the video. So if you go to that video, of course, then, you keep following that and you'll get to his actual channel. But yeah, it was a great interview. So I did subscribe. To, I know a lot of people, a lot of celebrities now are on YouTube. And it first started around the Rona. Like a lot of us was already on YouTube, right? But when the Rona hit, we was really on the YouTube. I mean, that's when they was cutting up the most. People's on here doing the most. We up here all night. I mean, you can barely keep up with the storylines because people is going video after video after video. Before somebody could damn near go live and finish their video, somebody else was clapping back or somebody was doing commentary off of it. And hey, I was one of them. I was one of them. But excuse me. A lot of actors and rappers, singers, a lot of entertainers, they had started doing the YouTube and creating channels. And then when when they thought TikTok was about to be banned forever, oh, that's when like the remaining entertainers, it seemed like, started getting on YouTube. The remaining entertainers, they got on YouTube. So again, I didn't know Deon Cole had a channel. Or just maybe I'm just late, but I didn't know he had a channel. But I subscribed and I hit the notification bell because again, I thought it was a great interview and I like Deon Cole. One thing that TICHINA Arnold did talk about also was her TV show, The Neighborhood. Do y'all watch The Neighborhood? Have y'all watched The Neighborhood? It's like 8 seasons. The Neighborhood is ending. The Neighborhood is ending, and I'm so sad to see it go. I am so sad to see The Neighborhood go. That was a really, really good show. And it lasted 8 seasons, and that's one thing that Deon gave her kudos about too, was he said it's not many people from where she's from, who have had the success, the amount of success that she has had, whether it was in film, whether it was on Broadway or off Broadway, whether it was on TV shows, whether it was, and then a lot of the TV shows that she has been in lasted for years, lasted for some time. And she was like the main cast, the main star. So he was giving her kudos, as he should. She deserves it. She really deserves it. She has done amazing work. Her profile, her portfolio, it goes on and on and on. But she did say, never ever be afraid of change when it comes to the neighborhood. Never ever be afraid of change. And that's something that we can all use, in our real life, in our everyday life. It's 2026, y'all. I came across that at the beginning of 2026, that she said never ever be afraid. That's like something good to take into consideration for this new year. But yeah, October 13th, about 3-4 months ago, that was the beginning of the final season of The Neighborhood. So I think they're on pause right now. I think it's gonna totally be finalized like in spring. You know how some TV shows, they do like so many shows, then they take like a break, then they come back and do the rest of the shows for the season. So I think that's where they are right now, because when I looked up, when I last watched The Neighborhood, like, I don't know, a month or so ago, I didn't from that episode take that as the finale. So I had to go back and check. I'm like, damn it, was that the finale? And so I went back and they was like, no, the finale should be actually in the spring, like early spring. So I guess they're like on a pause right now. But yeah, she did have some things to say about The Neighborhood as far as the season finale. She's going to miss it. She's sad to go, but she said never, ever be afraid of change. She said it's going to be very hard to say goodbye, but I'm very grateful that we do have some final organization to it. She said we have some finality and everyone gets a chance to brace themselves and plan for the next movement in life. So we are very grateful for that. And she's 56. Oh, I can only hope and pray that I look even a percentage as good as she looks at 56. Now, I know a lot of money come into play when you're an entertainer, when you're rich, when you got, money and stuff like that. I know a lot of that come into play with as far as keeping you healthier, having personal trainers, personal chefs, maybe. I don't know if she has all that. I'm just saying. A lot of people who have a lot of money have access to a lot of different sources. to stay in shape and eat healthy and look good. I mean, surgeries, facelifts, tummy tucks. I mean, all that, getting their nose done, their eyebrows, their cheekbones, their chin. I mean, oh my God, the things that celebrities do just to try to continue to remain young or look young. But anywho, no shade, no tea again. But yeah, as far as she said, as far as the moments on that TV show, she did open up also about being a person of color on TV. She said since the beginning of the show, well, actually, what she said was getting to be a part of the show that showcases real life issues like gentrification. That's one thing. Okay, hold up. That's one thing I did like about the show, The Neighborhood. In the neighborhood, they were basically there first, and then this white family, this couple and their little boy, moved in next door, and they ended up being best friends. Cedric became best friends with the guy, and TICHINA Arnold became best friends with the wife. And then, of course, they have a little son, and he was like family to all of them. But she said it shows real life issues with gentrification, which was really important to them. And she said since the beginning of the show, Cedric, the entertainer, has done an amazing job at keeping the sanctity of a Black family living in a neighborhood being gentrified and the roles of that. And we find comedy and find balance because for us, balance is very, very important. So, yes. Now, as far as her tips for being over 50 and looking fabuloso, she just turned 56. Okay. She said, I still have hot flashes every now and then. They're not as often, but I'm at a point where I'm changing my wardrobe and it's almost like a freaking teenager. I'm changing my style. I'm finding what makes me comfortable, but I still don't want to lose my sassiness. I still want to have a little bit of the edge to me, and I'm discovering myself all over again. And that's what she said. Never be afraid of changes. Change is good. Change is not always bad. It can be scary, but you don't want to get older and close yourself off. So take all the wisdom, everything that you learned thus far, and you want to be able to apply it. You can't apply it if you're closed it off, but you can apply it if you're open to having new kinds of funds. So that's for all you guys over 50 years old. Change is good. Don't look at growing older as something that's so horrible, because we all got to get old. And I know in the B sector, one of the things that a lot of the younger people do is they talk about the older people. You old this, you old that, you gonna die soon. You know the stuff they be saying in the B sector, as if their parents aren't old, their aunties and uncles, their grandparents, as if they're not going to get old, as if, like, I don't want to be on here beefing with nobody and cussing and dragging somebody out at 70 and 80 years old, but who knows? Shoot, some of these people in the B sector might not retire till they die. Because, some of them have. A lot of people in the B sector has passed away that were content creators. And even some people who are still here would say things like, hey, Lee Danielle, how you doing, T? Hey, booby. But some of the people on here, after people pass away, they be like, oh, well, that's what they get. That's their karma. We don't know what people's karma is. There is a time and place for everything. God knows before we was even a speckle in our parents' eye. Before we was a star, before we was, in our parents' belly, our mama's belly, when we were going to pass away, if we were going to get sick, if we were going to be in an automobile accident, if we were going to be unalived by force of, fire, pew, 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 if we're just going to die in our sleep, if we're going to die of old age, all that is already preordained. So, for people to say, that's their karma, for everybody be dragging a lot of people on here in the B sector. So if any of the B sector people were to pass away, I'm not going to say, oh, but that's what they get. That's their karma. We don't know their karma. It could probably be not karma. It could just be God's way of, adding another angel upstairs, because we don't know where each other is going. Some of y'all think that some people is going to hell, or some people think, But anyway, I digress. But yeah, T. Daniel, I was just giving a little commentary on the interview between Deon Cole and TICHINA Arnold. It was a absolutely great interview. I might have to watch it again. It was so good. It was so fun. But she discussed her family. She discussed her daughter, how Deon asked her, does she have any regrets? And she said she used to say for years she never had any regrets. And I think a lot of us do this. We say for years, everything that I've done ever in the past, it taught me, it brought me, it pushed me, whatever. Um, but she said she used to say that all the time, that she had no regrets. And she said she didn't have any regrets until she got older and her daughter grew up, and her daughter would say things like, you weren't there. You weren't there. Now, she had a circle. She had a village. She had people who helped raise her child. She was doing plays. She was doing TV, film, whatever. So she wasn't around her child all the time. But she did have people there. She even talked about how her uncle had moved in with them, and how she used to leave her daughter to care of her uncle. She said, I taught my daughter at a very young age to do everything. If I wasn't there, she knew how to do everything. Even when she was a little girl, she knew how to go to the bathroom. She needed to wipe herself real good. She knew how to get herself dressed. She knew how to do, because the uncle was like, I don't do that. I don't change Pampers. I don't clean up down there. I don't do none of that. Okay, I will watch your kid. I will keep your kid. I will take care of her. I will protect her. But all that down there, she has to either know how to do, or you got to get somebody else to do that kind of stuff. And I feel you, shoot. Even as unless you daddy or something like that, I don't. Maybe grandpa. I don't know. You just don't want any. Not saying that I'm not trying to go there, but I'm just saying, me, if I was to have a little girl, I wouldn't want everybody just, Anyway, did I go? Gotta get a sip of water. Child, I didn't mean to go left with that. But yeah, she said she wanted to make sure that her daughter knew how to do a lot of the things. So when her uncle did have her, he didn't have to do all that kind of stuff. But she said when her daughter got older, she would tell her things like, you weren't there. And she said, that's when I started having regrets. That's when I started feeling like, damn, I did miss a lot. There was a lot of things that I did miss. And I think a lot of us do that too. We get older and we say we have no regrets, because a lot of times we don't want to admit some of the things that we wish we wouldn't have done or wish we wouldn't have missed. Like, I could say there were times when I was bringing up my sons, and I told y'all before, doing probably a transparent moment, how I used to work like 2-3 jobs sometimes, to take care of my boys and to foot all their fees for their sports and their activities, extracurricular activities, road trips, jerseys, expensive sneakers, cleats, all kind of stuff. Because my kids were jobs, and I can say there were sometimes I regret not being there all the time, but I didn't miss much. Even though I did work a lot, I didn't miss much. I was there for like all the big things, all the important things. I probably missed, like, in a year at a time, I probably missed like 2 games per kid. And they played everything. I mean, track, football, basketball, wrestling. So in a year's time per each kid, I probably missed, like, because I try to always schedule everything around my children's schedule. Even my jobs, I try to schedule everything around their schedule. So I didn't miss a whole lot. But there were some times where I'm like, damn, I guess I could have been around a little more. But they never mentioned it to me growing up. Mom, because they know I was there for most of the part. And I was their primary parent. They have fathers. They have fathers who took care of them as well, played child support, bought them shit all the time outside of child support, which a lot of fathers don't do. They be like, you getting that check and that's it. Don't ask me for nothing for Christmas. Don't ask me for nothing for your birthday. Take it out that damn check. That's how some dads are with their kids. I know that for a fact. Because I know some females who had fathers of their children that were like that. They're like, don't try to squeeze another dime out of those jokers. If you needed some extra money or the kid needed some extra school pictures or anything like that, shit. That's one thing I could depend on. Hey, you saw want these LeBron James. Okay, that's all he wants to wear, dude. Now you know they like $200. And he was like, well, how about you buy some, then I buy some. You buy some, and so that's what we would do. We would like take turns doing shit like that. Like, okay, it's Christmas time. He needs more shoes. Okay, it's my turn. I'll get them. You know, and like pictures, and we would flip flop. Okay, I paid for the pictures last time. This was on top of them paying child support and things like that. So, you know, I have to say I had some, you know, good men that I had. They weren't perfect, but neither was I. But for the most part, I wouldn't change the fathers of my children for nothing. For the most part, I wouldn't. They still talk to them. They still deal with them. They still visit them. One of my son's dad lives out of town, but it's only like an hour away. So they drive up here. He drives down there, you know, whoop, whoop, whoop. The other one lives here in town. So, you know, he, matter of fact, oops, let me tell you something. I didn't know this. I found out this from my oldest son maybe 3 months ago. I don't even know how we got on the subject, but we got on the subject of my son because I have two sons and they have two different fathers. You know, two sons by different dads. And my oldest son told me that his father gave him $1,000 when his baby was born. I said, "What? Why you never tell me? Why didn't I know this?" He said, "I didn't know I was supposed to tell you." So again, I say I wouldn't change who I chose to be my son's fathers. I wouldn't go back. If I could do it all over again, we had our ups and downs. Things didn't work out. You know, we moved on, new relationships, whatever. But that just touched me. That touched me because y'all know I love my grandbaby, my grandson, Ace with the cute face. I love him downs. Okay, I love him downs. He got his whole bedroom over here. He got more shit in his room that I had when I was growing up. Like his room is laid and slayed at my house. Okay, flat screens on the wall, bedroom set, dressers, all that kind of stuff, toys, clothes, everything over here that he needs when he's over here. His parents don't have to bring shit. They ain't got to bring no clothes, no drawers, no food, no nothing. They just drop his ass off and he takes off through the house. He know where his room at. Yeah, where the remote? You know what I'm saying? He's only 4. But when he told me that his dad gave him $1,000 when his little baby was born, that just touched me. I said, your father, the man that I conceived you with, gave you $1,000 when your baby was born? Now, that's not something everyday fathers do. A lot of people don't even have $1,000 to give themselves. But I was really touched because I love that little boy so much. So I was like, damn, my baby daddy just, here you go, son. Congratulations on your new baby. I don't know. Maybe I'm just throwing it out of proportion, blowing it out of proportion. But I was touched. I really was. It just shows me that their fathers still look out for them, because a lot of times I don't know when my sons and their fathers interact. That's not my business. Once they got of age, I said, now y'all grown. That's your daddy. I don't have to do that in between shit anymore. I don't got to call them for this, call them for that, remind us of this, right? Y'all grown. Y'all do your father son thing on your own. And even sometimes when my sons tell me something and they have a concern or something like that, I'll be like, call your daddy. Well, the same way y'all talk to me and express concerns to me, because me and my children are very open with each other, not to say they be disrespectful or cussing or anything like that, because they don't play that shit. They might slip and cuss, but they'll apologize real quick. But I don't have kids that just be cussing, just throwing it off the, whim like that. And what up? How you doing, Noble? Hey, love. Happy New Year, hon. But yeah. So his father had gave him $1,000, and I was like, I just love that relationship, because with my sons, I tell them, you grown now. Y'all grown. Y'all, one of them about to be 25, the other one about to be 29. Y'all grown. Talk to your father the way you want to talk to your father if you had a concern, or if you feel like, they upset you in some type of way or something. Not that they're, what I'm trying to say. I'm basically saying, if I did something wrong to you and you didn't like how I moved or something I said to you, you would tell me, Mom, for real, like, Mom, really? I'm like, talk to your father the same way. As long as y'all don't be disrespectful and make y'all father want to bust y'all in y'all head, as long as y'all being disrespectful, you grown now. Shoot. Talk to your father, put some feeling and some heart into it. Tell your daddy how you feel about certain shit. And, that's how I raise my sons. Be respectful at all times to adults, grown-ups, your authority figures, especially if they're not harming you and shit like that. But other than that, it is what it is. You grown. But that's all I got to say. I just wanted to do a little review of the commentary that I heard from other people regarding things that were said about the Martin show with Pam and Martin, and then also do a little commentary about the interview between Deon Cole and TICHINA Arnold. I did again drop the link to the YouTube channel so you can check out that interview. I think you will love it. You will not be disappointed. It was a great interview, real laid back, funny, entertaining. Yeah, it was cool. So on that note, you guys, I thank you guys for tuning in to the little noontime show with me today. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend, a wonderful New Year's. My baby coming over later today, so I can't wait till he comes over to spend the night with his yaya. What we gonna get into, watching some TV, playing some games. But he be having me drawing. But when it comes to like coloring and stuff like that, he has to pick the colors for me. I be like, but I want to use blue. No, yaya, you need to color him red. I'd be like, you know what? And then my son be like, you let your yaya use whatever color she want. I'm like, don't you talk to my baby like that, my son. It be so funny. Because my son be like, you just let him do whatever. You just let him. And I am. Shoot. Shit, everybody say y'all asses was spoiled when y'all was younger. Y'all had everything, even though most of the time we was broke as fuck. Like, I don't even know how I was able. It was by God. It was by God. Because when I look back in hindsight, I'm like, how was I always able to afford all that shit for my kids? Like, okay, so the PS5, right? My son told me that his Xbox broke, my oldest son. And I said, well, why don't you just get the PS5? And matter of fact, I thought of that because I saw Seven's video. Was it Seven or was it it was somebody on YouTube. I know Seven been doing some videos with her and her man. And I don't know. It was somebody who has showed like presents for Christmas. And one of the presents for their guy was a PS5. It wasn't Seven, it was somebody else. And so I said, why don't you get you a PS5? He said, Mom, them things cost like $900 or some shit like that. And I started laughing. I said, you would have that motherfucker too if you was little, right? He said, I know we would. He said, every new game console that came out, you got it. It was either for Christmas or birthday or something like that. They had every freaking game console that ever came out. They got it. But one thing about it, we was talking and joking about this the other day. They just didn't get shit thrown at them. $200 shoes, expensive clothes. They didn't get that shit that's thrown on. They had to be good behavior, do their chores, be good in school, homework, all that shit. Because I would snatch a TV real quick. When I punish kids for being bad, not doing homework, getting in trouble in school and shit like that, I would take everything out their damn room. They'd be left with a bed. I would have TVs and shit, games in my car, in the trunk, locked up somewhere in the house, in my bedroom. Like, I don't play. I take phones. I take all that shit. You be living like you back in the 1970s. Cable where? Wi-Fi where? My sons used to get back on that shit real quick. A few days without a phone, a few days without their game, a few days of missing practice, and they coach coming down in there. Mama said we can't come because we ain't got all our homework. Shit, they would get right. They get some act right real quick, boy, fucking around with me. That's just how it was. But yeah, hey Senslow, how you doing, love? You need to let me know if you ever gonna do your show, girl. So I can know if you still want me to join you or not. But yeah, let me know. But yeah, let me get off of here. You guys, please like and share the video. Thank you so very much. Feel free to hit the Cash App, like Sislo said in the chat. Like, share, subscribe, support the channel. $sign the Hood Table 402. I appreciate you guys so very much. Stay safe, be blessed, remain vigilant at all times, and always remember to keep it hood. I'm out. Bye.